Hi, I'm Bet from Bet's Makes, and today we're going to be making what I call a wavy birthday card. As you can see on the screen, we have a birthday card with a few little extra embellishments. We have some corner cuts, we have some wavy edges, we have some wavy things that are going to go on the inside, and of course we have a birthday cake with happy birthday on it, and this is all going to be inside one card. So let's get started with this. Let's just move over to Cricut Design Space. All right, we're going to move this file and we're going to put it into Cricut Design Space. So let me just minimize this one just a little bit here. Let's move it over here. And I have opened up my Cricut Design Space right here. We're going to click on a new project, and this particular project is going to be the wavy card. We have not uploaded the file yet, so I'm going to click on upload, and here we go. We're going to upload an image, and in our case, I'm just going to move this over here so you can see it. We want the wavy card birthday SVG file. So I'm just going to drag it over. I don't have to have this particular thing open. I'm just going to move this out of the way. Now you see it has all the files we need right here. It is set up as a cut image, which is natural when you bring in an SVG file. And we're just going to click on upload. And I'm going to select it and insert the image right onto my canvas. And there we go. You can see everything that there is here. Now, because we are in Design Space and some things are going to not show up the way we want them to, we're going to have to first ungroup all of this so that we can start working on the happy birthday and the cake and perhaps this piece as well. So let's start by hitting ungroup. And you can see there's all kinds of pieces and parts here. So I'm going to click on this one again and move that over. That looks perfect. We have the birthday and the cake separated, but once again, we're all grouped together. So we're going to ungroup again. Now I have the top card here, and it moves over with the score line. So this is one group right here. And if we look down on the corner here, you'll find that it is already attached. So we don't have to do anything else with this one. I see three little artifacts here. And what we're going to do is just highlight those and press the delete key. We don't need those artifacts. So this one is all ready to go. I'm just going to move it out of the way. Then we're going to click on this one. And it just says basic cut here and basic cut here. These two are not attached together. So before we move anything, I want to pull these two together, just like that, and we are going to attach them. Now that is all you need to do. Is going to cut the outside edges, and it's going to cut these little dotted lines all around. It's going to be a really cute center. Now what we want to do is work on the cake and of course the happy birthday. Now the happy birthday right now is going to fit in here. Whoop, let's bring that to the front. Let's go over here to arrange at the top. And we're going to send it to the front. So we see the happy birthday fits inside there. Now you could decide to use a different font, but for this one, that's what we want to do. But we do have to make some changes. Look up here. It says basic cut. Excuse me. What we want to do is we want it to be a pen. Now it has it outlined the way we want, and then of course I'm going to change the color. That's once again up here on operations, and I think I'll go for a very berry red. Now that looks pretty good. Now the biggest thing is I want the happy birthday to go right on top of this piece because it's going to go into the center. But we have a piece that's already attached, and then we have the happy birthday, which is not. Now I could ungroup this. This is a pen. I don't need to. But what I do need to do is take that group and make sure it fits in here with the attach. So I am going to just take this, I'm going to click the little arrow here, I'm going to grab this, and I am going to put it right here, and it should fit inside the attach. It did. I have to put it up a little bit because I want it ahead of it. It doesn't want to seem to attach. It should. I'm going to highlight these. I'm going to detach. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on them all again. I don't want that back piece. Okay, so let's go over here. Let's grab this. Let's move it down here. Sometimes when you're working with Design Space, it doesn't do exactly what you want, so that looks pretty good. Now, I am going to group them together right now, and that looks pretty good. I'm going to group, and then I am going to attach them, because when we do the cake, we're actually going to cut the cake out and then put it as vinyl right on the surface right here. So let's take a look at our cake now. Now, the cake comes in a lot of different colors, and it absolutely fits right here. Once again, I'm going to have to arrange this and send it to the front. So we want the cake to go here. Now, the easiest way, I don't want to cut many pieces of vinyl, but what I want to do is use a print and cut, and I can do it on a permanent vinyl. I can do it on sticker paper. So let's bring this over here. And what we want to do with this now is flatten it. And Flatten will allow me to send it over to my printer. Now, it's the perfect size that I want, but I don't want a lot of these details coming in like little tiny cuts. So what I want to do with this is I'm going to come up here to offset, and you can see that there's a white offset that goes all around, and that's the cut line. Now it's set to 0.25. I find that's a bit big, so I'm going to put 0.125, and I'll hit the tab key, and that seems to be a little tighter together. So now we should be able to come here. Oh, where did it go? Okay, so there should be 0.125. I guess I didn't click on apply. That's my fault. Okay, we're going to click apply. Now it has this. Wow, it really disappeared. Okay, so let's try it one more time. Apply. Okay. I'm going to hit it again just in case. Okay, there we go. It came up in black. Well, obviously we don't want this piece black. You'll see over the layers panel. Because we don't want that piece to print, we're going to come up here to color type. We're going to change it to white. And now we have an image that's together. It's flattened and flattened offset. It shows them as separate items, so they would print separately. Well, we don't want that. We want to attach those together. And they're going to be attached together, and you will see they are print then cut. So what's going to happen is it will just cut all the way around the cake. And then we will have a little design that we can bring, and then just we will be able to use our sticker paper and absolutely put it right here. So our next little step is going to be coming over onto using our Cricut to do the cutting. I'm going to use my new Maker 3, but you could use any machine in order to do this. So we have three different things that are going to happen here. This one being a print then cut. We have this one with a cut and then a draw on it, and then the final one is just a lot of cut with a score line down the center. So you should have three pieces. You should have your birthday cake, you should have your inner greeting, and you should have the card itself. So those are the only three things that you want to have. Now they can be of different materials. I tend to use a thicker material for my cards. A little thinner sometimes for the inside, but we are going to use a sticker inside here. So this will be on sticker paper. So let's go ahead. I've come up here and chosen my Maker 3, and we're going to click on Make It. It'll just take a second to come over to the mats and decide how it's going to orient everything. So now it has sorted them into mats, and I'm not going to use the Cricut Smart Materials. I'm going to use any material. It will be on a mat. And then, of course, it will allow you to select multiple ways. I'm just going to use the one in the center. Let's click Done. So now my mats are all sorted. I have the print and cut. I'm just simply going to use, this is a Cricut stencil paper. Actually, it's a sticker paper. And then I'm going to use 2 plain sheets of a thick cardstock. So it's a heavy cardstock. So I'm going to print, and then we'll cut this. And this next one, we're going to have a pen and cut. And then, of course, a score and a cut. So let's start off with our basic print then cut. I'm just going to click continue here. And we are going to send it to the printer. So we'll just click on send to printer. And it's going to come up with a list of the printers that I have. There we are. It comes up. I have my Epson that I'm choosing. I want to add a bleed. I want to use the system dialog box because I want to make my own changes of where this feeds into my printer. So I click here. And once I open that up, my system dialog box will open up the second I click print. And you'll see that the dialog box comes here and it has picked my printer. I'm going to click on preferences. This may be a little different for you, but I don't want an auto source. I want my rear paper feed, and it is 8.5 by 11. And then I'm just going to click OK, and it should print, and then we will start feeding it into our maker. So now that it is printed, we're going to go over to our maker machine right here, and we are going to put it through and have it print and cut. So I have to go to my sticker paper. Now this is not smart material, so I'm going to browse, and I'm just going to type in stickers. And sticker, maybe sticker. So printable sticker, clear white, and that's the Cricut one I have. I don't have the smart paper one, but let's click on the white one and click on done. Now it's starting, it's looking for the fine point blade, which I already have loaded over here, which is just fine. I have ready to load the mat, but first thing I want to do when I'm doing this, I want to place it on my mat, make sure it's going to stay in place, because what is really important about this cut is that it stays in place. So I have a little brayer tool, and what I do in order to make sure things stay aligned, I am simply going to roll it into place, and this assures me that it's going to stick all over the place. I find if I do it by hand, it doesn't always work the way I want it to. And I'll just use it one more time along the side. That looks good. That's just a little brayer tool. Now this is for a mat, so I'm just going to push it in and push our button here. It's going to go through, and it's going to find the blade, and then it's going to cut my little design. So we're going to see how fast this goes. All right, we are ready to go. We'll push the button. Right now, what it's doing is detecting where the black square is so that it knows how to cut our cake out. Wow, that was really fast. So now we have our sticker all cut out, and that's going to go on the card, and I'm just going to move this off to the side. All right, our next part of our cut is going to be more of a, I would say, medium cardstock. So I'll click on medium cardstock, and it wants to write, so I'm going to bring out a pen, and I don't have a raspberry one, but I'm simply going to use this pink one. And I'm just going to put it in here and push it down till it clicks and then shut. I always put the cap on the top here so that I'm not going to lose it. Now for the inner part, I am just going to use a medium cardstock white paper that I bought this paper at Michael's. And once again, I'm just going to put it into the corner and try and get it as straight as possible. I do use my brayer tool almost every time just to make sure it is going to stay in place, because quite often my mats lose some stick in some areas. Okay, that looks really good. So all we're going to do here now is load the paper. And I'm just going to wait for this to appear. It's going to check, make sure I've got everything in there. Load the mat through. Push our button to make it go. And it's going to be pretty quick when it writes our greeting. It just takes a little while to do this. Now the little tick marks I had around, you could have used a pen for them and changed them all from cut files, little cut lines, into these beautiful little dash lines. But I wanted to keep them as cut because it gives a real decor to what you're doing with this particular card. Now the card we're putting together, it says happy birthday. This greeting piece can go on the outside of the card, and then you can add your own greeting on the inside. So it's just going to take a few minutes in order to do this. It does a few at a time. right, we will unload this mat. That looks really good. As you can see, the little light lines inside here and the scallop and the happy birthday. We're going to add something to that. So now I'm just going to place this under here so it's out of the way. I'm going to bring over another mat, and this, I have chosen this beautiful violet color. And once again, I want to throw my brayer tool over top just to make sure things stick when they're doing a cut. Just a little trick that I learned from a couple of other people that were doing this. Now, on this particular one, we're going to have something a little bit different. So I'm going to take the pen out and put that away. And what it's asking for here is another choice of material. So it's asking us each time. So I'm going to go medium cardstock. And it's telling us to load the single scoring wheel. Now, I have a single scoring wheel, and I use this little tool kit to keep all of my tools. So all I have to do is flip up, and here I have my single scoring wheel, and it has a 01 on it. So if you look at the 01 here, and you see that the 01 is on the screen, that's exactly what you want to do. So we're going to go into the B, and I am going to open this for the first time, and it is stiff. Okay, so we're going to take out our blade, and actually I will put it in the center here so that I can come back to it. So when I load this, there are some wheels on this side, and those are the ones that are going to go right against the wheels that seem exposed in here. And then I am going to shut this. It's really tight. It is very nice. All right, we have our mat prepared. I'm going to push the button to load it. And we're ready to go. What it's doing now is detecting the tool that I loaded into it to make sure it is the correct one. All right, so now it is finished with that. It's gone to the center. I'm going to pull that out. I'm going to put my scoring wheel back, and I am going to put my fine tip blade in there, make sure it's seated properly. And then I'm going to close the lever B and push my go button. Put this away. All right, we are going to unload our mat. That looks great. And we're going to come over to the screen here, and we are going to click on Finish. Now that is all there is to this part of having this cut. So now we're going to go back to our demo table, and we're going to put the whole thing together. So I'm going to turn my machine off. I'm just going to close the lid. And I'm just going to move it off to the back here. So we're going to work with all of our other pieces. So now we have the 3 pieces, including our sticker. So this is going to be the base of the card. This is going to be the greeting that we can glue on. I'll just move my brayer tool out of the way here. So let's start by taking this off the mat, and I am just going to peel it off this way, and I will unload the rest of it later. I'm just going to move it off to the side. So now we have this beautiful happy birthday, and it's got a nice stitched effect. Now the best part is you can bend up these little pieces here to give it a really cute effect. So we can just bend those just a little bit. You don't need them a lot. It's just that you want them to stick out so it looks really good when you're doing your cards. Now, also, besides doing this, to make this look really good, you could fill in the happy birthday. You could color those in yourself if you wanted to, or you could have had your Cricut fill them in as well by having it paint various lines all the way through. But I think we've got enough with this raised. So what I want to do now is take off my birthday, and look at that, the back part came off by itself, which is just fine. I can use it in another place. So I'm just going to pull my cake off. Oh my goodness, the little candle pieces came off too. Okay, so what we're going to do is we'll always improvise. We'll put the cake here. Now it looks like I've got a few pieces that I wanted to cut all on their own. That is okay. I've got a little candle piece, and I will just place the candle where I wanted it to. It was probably my mistake. I probably should have flattened it again so it was one piece, but this is easy enough. I really didn't want the white piece that we have over here anyway. And let me just grab the other little piece. Now I could use transfer paper for this, but it's much easier sometimes to do it by hand. And there we have this beautiful little centerpiece. So we're finished with our sticker paper. And I'll just move this up over here. So I'm just going to pull this one off the same way. I like to roll the mat off. And the reason we roll the mat off is so these don't end up being curled. Now we have little pieces. We have 3 little pieces on each end. These ones all came out beautifully. This is a great cut job. Now we have the 3 little bumpy pieces right here. Now that means that's the front of the card, and therefore I can then match these up. Now look at this. When you're matching these up, you will know you're right dead center when they match up perfectly. This is how I designed the card so that these would match up. I'm going to hold onto it, and I'm just going to push down slightly, and then I am going to get my scraper tool, and one of my other little pieces here is I have a little box that I got at the dollar store, and I keep all my tools inside it. I know some people like to hang them up, and I have one of my larger scraper tools. Now I've got this matching, and I'm going to use that scraper tool, and we are going to burnish this card. Now burnish is a term just for making a crisp fold. Now what we want to do is put the happy birthday on the outside of the card. And since I had an error cut here, the way I didn't want it, we have an extra little birthday ring. So what we can do is, let's put this on the inside, and I'm going to grab one of my pens, and I'm just going to write the person's name in here, and then you can write other greetings. I'm just going to use that piece. Why waste it? All right, so our next little job is we want to glue this in place. Now you can use any kind of glue you want. A lot of people really love a glue stick. For me, I tend to use more of my tacky glue, and this is my go-to glue. It's the original tacky glue. And let's see, that looks pretty clear. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a little dab in each corner to start, just to make sure the corners get laid down properly. And then in the middle of each side, move this down a bit so you can see what I'm doing. What I tend to do is just put a nice X. We don't want to fill it entirely with glue. I'll just put the lid on. Now I'm going to turn this over. My happy birthday goes this way. This is the bottom of the card. Now what you want to do is just sort of use your fingers and look over top so you think you have it approximately centered. And there it goes. Very nice. We'll just let that dry into place. It looks pretty straight. The reason I use the tacky glue is you can see I can move it if I don't get it exactly the way I wanted it. There we go. And then I can just reflip up some of these pieces. I know when you put them in an envelope that pieces will flatten out, but this is just a fun thing to do. These are all cuts inside here, so it makes it easier. If you had pen marks, that wouldn't happen. You could probably use another tool for it as well, but I like the little cut lines. And here we have this beautiful little greeting card. You can see it here. So I hope you had a lot of fun with this craft and make a lot of great birthday cards. Remember, this doesn't have to say happy birthday. You can have a different sticker, but the style is amazing. So until next time, happy crafting.